Hi guys, I'm Arman and
I'm Treyvon Control Coker.
and this is our first episode of what we're going to call the post-fight podcast. Hey guys, Arman here. So just a quick PSA before I start. If you can already tell already, I make a lot of sounds when I talk, like and a lot of faces, which you'll no doubt notice throughout the duration of this podcast. That's because I have Tourette syndrome. That's a neurological illness wherein the people who have it have tics. These are like sort of involuntary urges to perform motor or verbal or phonic behaviors. I have all three. So yeah, just bear with me, guys. Thanks. Our setup is pretty scuffed right now because we're in the middle of a quarantine and it's our first episode. But we're a couple of fighting enthusiasts and currently amateur fighter who live in the Houston area, and we love fighting. All things professional sports, fighting sports. MMA is our big focus, but we love all things fighting, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, sambo, boxing, kickboxing, all that stuff. We're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves. Trayvon, you can go ahead.
Man, I've been training MMA for almost 8 years now. Almost 8 years now. I've been doing things for that long. I've been doing everything MMA for 8 years. I've had two amateur fights, 2-0. You already know what it is. To make a long story short, man, I really really enjoy MMA. I spend a lot of time looking at fights, studying fights, analyzing fights, interacting with people who like to do that same thing. It's just a very nice pastime. I enjoy the whole process.
That's awesome, man. And we have a couple of photos here from your most recent win. I'm going to pull them up in a second. Not to show them the guy who you lost to or anything, but let me just transition out into that screen real fast.
He was a good guy.
He was, man. He was. He was a nice guy. Sir. And we're going to transition. Yeah, so this is Trayvon's. This is. He fought for Fury. You want to tell him about that, Trey?
Like the organization or the fighter?
Yeah, so
I'll go
here's a
everything.
photo of
So,
you right here in the poster. And then
hey man, I
there's
was
the
the face of
knockout.
Fury for like one whole week, you guys. The face of the face of Fury fighting championships. But yeah, like that was the organization I fought under, and I had that fight in December of 2019. My last fight. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a little bit until I get my next fight due to the quarantine and whatnot, which is very sad and very heartbreaking. But it's just part of the process, how things go sometimes. But yeah, like that was my second fight. My first fight I won by submission. That was in 2018. So
Rear
I
naked
need to get
choke,
more on
right?
the grind in terms of rear naked choke. So I need to get more on the grind in terms of actual consistency.
Yes, sir. And that was an awesome thing for us to watch. So I actually met Trayvon because my good friend of mine, John Tran, he's a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu, went to my high school. He and I were the only two guys who really knew who consistently trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at Dulles High School. Shout out to the old place. And we both go to the University of Houston, and we were starting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club at UH. And we were like, we need 3 officers. And long story short, Trayvon and John had competed as blue belts in a jiu-jitsu tournament. How many years back? A while back. Not to throw him under the bus, but Trayvon,
Yeah, I
John.
know you about to expose them. Yeah,
Sorry, John. It happened, man. It happened. You don't want to get exposed. Don't want to. John has a phenomenal guard. Like, he's got a good guard. He's one of those bendy guys like me who can do this sort of shit, but he's even more agile. And Trayvon was the only guy that day who could pass his guard. I think he armbarred him. And
I think I did. Yeah.
yeah, they've been friends ever since, sort of like, acquaintances. But we were like, Trey, we need a third officer if you want to show up and train with us. And he was like, yeah, sure. And he came and we had this janky setup in like a basketball gym called Melcher Gym at UH with like a bunch of miscolored mats. Remember that we had the blue mat out there along with the wrestling mats, and
Yeah, it was just yeah.
it was jank. And Trayvon's like, I'll come here once a week, and it grew into a family. I can try and find a photograph actually. So that's how we met. That's how I met Trayvon. But there's a cool little highlight video. We'll pull it up later of Trayvon and the guy fighting. But yeah, I'll get into a little bit of my background now. So I'm not as far along in my process of becoming an amateur fighter, which is sort of the goal as of now, as Trayvon is. I started jiu-jitsu in late, like August 2015. I started at this place called LXBJJ. He was like a Hoyler / Hickson Gracie guy from Rio. His name was Leonardo Xavier. It's like 3rd-degree black belt. Great instructor. It was very very humble to the origins of jiu-jitsu. It was like OG, like wearing the gi during practice, very little no gi, and lots of self-defense stuff. And I started doing that because I did karate as a kid, and that was fun. But I would like play fight with some of my friends who watched the UFC, and they like understood if you grab someone, you know, it was a good way to fight, like grappling. And so I'd get my like fucking ass kicked by kids who were putting me in schoolyard headlocks and shit. And you know, that's not a really good choke, but it worked because I didn't know what I was doing. So I started jiu-jitsu, and I was like, this is amazing. And then slowly got into MMA, and then because of school and stuff, I stopped training there. And I've been kind of gym hopping ever since. I train at UH with UHBJJ. I'm the president. Treyvon's the treasurer. I've trained at Third Coast MMA. I've done a little bit at what's that one place? What's the one place that
Elite MMA?
Elite MMA. Thank you.
Elite. There it is.
There you go. Yeah, I've done some stuff at Elite MMA. I've been to Sugarland MMA a couple times at Henzo Gracie's right down the street from my house. And I'm just a gym hopper, man. Right now, I don't have a home. And I'm not any closer to getting to one with this whole coronavirus thing. Wear masks, guys. Social distance. We got to flatten the curve. But yeah, so that's our story. So there's really not a whole lot to talk about with regards to MMA news. Except that
I know, like our name is Post Fight Podcast, but we have nothing post fight to talk about, which is hilarious because it's gonna take actually a good little bit for us to actually talk about something post fight to happen. Like, but you know what? It's fine. We're building up to that. It's gonna be a special moment. Our actual first card we get to talk about is gonna be pretty special. So
well, it's gonna be dope. And you know, maybe after we get through our favorite fighters and the talking points for today, we can go through some potential matchups that would have happened, like Tony versus Justin and. All this stuff that's supposed to be happening on May 9th. That's a lot of fun. But anyway, yeah, yes. So we didn't have really a whole lot to talk about, guys. So we're just going to sort of spin off of each other. We got a list of five of our favorite fighters. I couldn't pick a top five because it's just too hard for me to compare, so I just picked five. Treyvon has his five, and we're going to go off each other. You can go first, Treyvon.
Okay, so my first selection, well, not my first selection. I'd probably say my fifth overall most favorite fighter probably is Damian Maia. I freaking love Damian Maia.
Oh, really?
Like, and he's actually, yeah, he's like the only like pure grappler on the list. I like pure grapplers, but you know, I'm a fan of like well-rounded or defensive fighters foremost, even though on the list is not really going to be that either. But Damian Maia is one of my favorite fighters. He seems like an absolutely excellent dude, and I just love how, like, he's one of the few good guys in MMA. It seems like, you know what I mean. Like, yeah. He's just a really nice guy. And then also, like, a point that I'm gonna get to a lot over the days and months and whatever is that there's championship caliber fighters who don't have championships. Like I always say, it's always a little funny joke in my head that when Damian Maia beat Carlos Condit, like, are you gonna make, you know, there's obviously a very, very, very valid argument that Carlos Condit beat Robbie Lawler, and I think it was what UFC was that? 190, like it was 196. No, it wasn't 196.
I can find out.
I forget, but yes, no, that was Connor's 196, but whatever. Yes, 195.
Yes, sir.
But yes, so Robbie beat Carlos Condit at 195 by the thinnest of margins, right? And then about half a year later, Damian Maia, bam, just submits Carlos Condit in one round. Okay, Damian Maia being the champion would have been so awesome. I mean, he wouldn't have defended it much. He wouldn't have done much with it. But it just would have been awesome to see, you know what I mean? Like,
how do you think?
Absolutely love Damian Maia.
Sorry, if Damian Maia had gone on his run during GSP's title reign,
he's not. No, he's not. I'm sorry. Like there are. No, it would have been like Jake Shields' fight, which would have been ugly, but it would have been like it would have been like the Jake Shields fight. And I'm a Jake Shields fan too, man. Okay, on another tangent, Damian Maia beat Jake Shields. Okay, I have to say that as well.
Oh, like, of course. Yeah.
I'm a Jake Shields fan, but I'm a Damian Maia fan first and foremost. So I have a little bit more bias. So you know, I'm gonna have to say that Damian Maia beat Jake Shields.
They fought each other, didn't they?
Yeah, they fought.
Right. And
they fought
Jake
like
Shields won.
in 2013, I think. Yeah, but he won by split.
Split decision. Okay, so I could have gone.
Yeah, he won by split.
Yeah, I forgot about that. See, I haven't watched a whole lot of Damian Maia. The first time I really started paying attention to Damian Maia, like the first fight I watched him during, and I was like, damn, this guy is actually can do some stuff in this division, was when he fought Gunnar Nelson. And
I love that fight. That fight was awesome.
Yeah, it looked like and you know, I think Goldberg was still commentating during that time. I'll respect the OG, but I mean that guy. He'd say something like when I'll never forget when Travis Lutter was walking out for his non-title fight against Anderson Silva because he missed weight by like 50 pounds. uh, and Goldberg was like, they're like all-star players in the NBA, and then there's a Michael Jordan. Travis Lutter is the Michael Jordan of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Rogan just pauses for a second and goes, well, he's not that good.
Okay, the funniest things, man. Because like Mark Goldberg would say something, Mike Goldberg would say something, and then every once in a while, Joe Rogan would be like, like, are you sure about that? Like, it is always the most hilarious thing when Mike Goldberg would say something, and Joe Rogan would have to like pause and like make sure, like, hey man, chill. That's not it, man. That's not where it's at.
I was really mad when they released him, just because of the manner in which they did it. You know, he was there for like 19 years. You got to give him more respect than that.
He's OG, man. I can't lie about that.
Yes, but the quality of I know your boy doesn't like DC, but the quality of commentary is so much higher now that he's gone. Like
Okay, I've always been a big fan of John Anik. Like back when he was commentating on the Fuel TV days, I was like, I like John Anik, man. Like people are like, he's robotic, he has no emotion. Like to me, John Anik seems like a fight fan. He's a fight fan, and if you're a fight fan, I respect it. Like Joe Rogan sometimes, a lot of times can be very like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll say.
But he's a fight fan. Like I really like. Okay, a very big important point that I really like about MMA commentary is like it's so enthused. It's so like into the motion. Like sometimes when I watch boxing fights, I love to watch boxing fights. Yeah. Like there'll be like a big, very crazy knockout, and they'll be like, oh wow, Manny Pacquiao got knocked out. Wow, that's crazy. Oh my goodness.
But the fight fans go,
wow.
You can see them
exactly.
throw their arms down their seats.
I know,
it looks like such a fun job.
Exactly. I know, it's like, oh my gosh, Floyd Mayweather just got knocked out for the first time in his career. Wow, I never saw this coming. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, like these are some very important moments in history, in sports history. You guys have to like be on top of that. You know what I mean? Like when I watch fights, I get into it emotionally.
I get lit.
I know.
Commentary looks like one of the funnest jobs. I was watching. Did you see the thing the UFC put out the other day? It was like and you see Anik, Rogan, and DC's just going the Gross.
That's how I be wrong. That's how I be wrong. When I watch fights with my friends, man, and especially when I watch fights with my best my fighter friend, me and him always get really, really, really invested in the fights together, man. It's a good time, man. It's a good time. It is dope. I feel my watching fights with people is the best.
It is, man. My family are not fight fans. My mom thinks fighting is a stupid sport. And so I'll scream at the top of my lungs, and they get mad at me and tell me to control myself. I'm like, I've seen you watch the World Series. I've seen you watch the Super Bowl. Like, you roll around on the floor 55 years of age. You know what I'm saying? This is the same thing for me. Anyway, we're getting on a huge non-technical related
I know, yes, you're talking about fighters.
Yeah, so let's get back to Damian Maia. I said the first fight I really watched with him was Gunnar Nelson. And, like, I brought up Goldberg. I don't remember if he was commentating, but I remember the gist of some of the early commentary in the early rounds was like, this will be a fight between two highly competitive grapplers. And it looked as though that might have been the case for like a short while. I remember Maia was really working the single, right? He used a lot of single legs up, but he really ended up putting the smush on Nelson afterward. Like he ended up passing his guard. Nelson, I don't remember exactly what Nelson was trying to use. He kept trying to use this one technique, I think, as a sweep.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the fight. I haven't watched the fight in a little bit.
Same, but I remember he mounted him and pounded the shit out of him. Like I don't usually see Maia as a big ground and pound guy, but
he's never really been a ground and pound guy.
No, but I remember he hit him a lot. Like he was on top of him and he was hitting him a lot.
No, he was I remember Gunnar Nelson bleeding. So
yeah,
so that's something important.
And that's the first time I saw Maia and thought, damn. And then I also watched him against Neil Magny, and he looked good there. And then the only exposure I had to him before was, okay, he can't take down Anderson Silva, and it's a really boring fight. Yeah. And so my thought was, you know, this is just some remnant of the era of Gracie guys who charged headfirst at people with their arms straight like that. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't get the takedown, and then they just were screwed on the feet. But no, I agree with you, man. I was so sad when Gilbert Burns caught him with that lead hook and dropped him. I was so sad. Ugh.
I mean, like I expected it, so it wasn't that bad. But I was like, you know, it didn't feel good, but it didn't feel. I wasn't like shocked or hurt. Because I've been hurt over some fights before, man. But I was like, that's unfortunate. But, you know, I knew I had a pretty high feeling it was going to happen.
But, you know, Maia had a really good... Go ahead.
No, like saying, I was expecting that to happen regardless, so I wasn't even too much just heard about it.
I feel you, man. I mean, I knew he would lose, and Gilbert, he's pretty explosive, right? Like when he's there's some of those Brazilian guys that are just like jacked, and then when they throw, they really throw with a lot of heat. That's sort of what I saw coming from him, and I knew it was on its way. Maya kind of outsized him more than I thought he would, but Maya had a really good 2019. He fought a couple Lyman good. He got like a standing rear naked choke with a chin down on him. I don't remember the next guy. He fought some no name. But
Ben Askren?
No, he's not a no name.
No, that was a guy. Oh no, it's Tony Martin. Wait,
it was some guy in the middle with a weird facial hair.
No. Tony Martin's good, man. Tony Martin's good. But I thought you were trying to troll him, Ben Askren.
No. No, I like Askren. You know I like Askren. I know he would never have won the title. That's something we can talk about here, because if we can move on to the next guy on my list.
Yes, yeah. Go to the next guy. Yeah, what's your guy?
I've got to put GSP on there. I know it's cliche. Everybody's got. I try to pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since GSP is on my list, we can coalesce together. GSP is my number one. Actually, he's my favorite fighter.
He's got.
He's my favorite fighter. So we can just talk about him just in general together. Okay,
yes,
so you go ahead since you brought him up.
So GSP to me, like, embodied the. I look up to him the most as a fighter. There's a lot of stereotypical reasons for that. Being very self-aware, very honest. He carried himself as a martial artist and all those, sort of borderline esoteric things. But for me, the difference between, like, one thing I've noted when you compete is you when I asked you how you felt you were going to do against the dude at the Longhorn Open, you said you thought it was going to be murder. And when I've competed in jiu-jitsu and I've looked the guy in the eye, I have confidence in my training and my preparation, but I have so many things going through my head at the same time. That I get there and I see the ref is about to say go, and I'm thinking to myself, the only reason I'm gonna go is because I can't back out. Like my brain, the first thing it does is think flight, but now I can't, so I have to fight. And then GSP has talked about how he was afraid to fight. He's very open about being anxious. He's very open about I could lose. Like I don't know if I'm gonna lose. I'm scared of losing. He's not one of those domineering alpha male type characters who thinks they're going to beat every single person, like you hear all the time. Like it's very staple. It's a very common mindset just in general in terms, like people who are into entrepreneurship get into that sort of thing. There's the I'm a champion, grind or die type of thing. He wasn't like that, and I can, but he was still one, if arguably the GOAT. So I can relate to him in that sense. It gives me it makes me feel like I have a place in MMA. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. Okay, and speaking on the point that you spoke upon me. Like, not all the time I'm like, yeah, man, I'm gonna catch dubs every single time. I'm out here the best. Like before my last fight, overall I would say I'm pretty calm. But when I'm sitting in the back, I'm like, man, I'm about to fight somebody. This kind of crazy. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is a little excessive, don't you think, Trey? I'm like, but I like to do. But then I'm like, I like to do this though. When I'm like, dang, man, there's people here, man. All the good and bad stuff that can go on, whatever. Man, and I'm just sitting in the back. I'm sitting in the back, just waiting 40 minutes, hour, you know what I mean? Seeing people warm up, seeing fighters come back that have lost, seeing, people come back with bruised faces. It's like, oh, snap, you know what I mean?
Right, I'll bet you that was
stuff like that, stuff like that. Nobody's, just like, oh my gosh, like, it's not like.
Very few people are nobody's just anxiety, yeah.
I wouldn't even, like, and the people that aren't, it's not like, they're not like wrestlers who are like, yeah, man, I'm like the Undertaker who's just like the ultimate scary guy or anything like that.
No.
That is a very major part of the reason I love GSP. That's why Mike Tyson probably is one of my favorite boxers as well.
Super self-aware.
But no, yes, yeah, I love self-aware fighters. But then also, to me, to be on my list, you have to be good. So like, I love the self-aware fighters. Right, but again, you said he's arguably the GOAT. I love me watching some GSP fights. A lot of people I know don't like watching GSP fights. And like, I understand, but I completely cannot agree at all.
Right.
Like GSP fights are just beautiful to watch, man. Like, it's just like it's like watching. You hear it a lot. Like it's a system. It's just a system in play. Things are just so coherent. He's not in bad spots. It's just so nice to see. Yeah, very nice to see.
A really good blueprint for how he fought it. That long jab he'd throw, and he timed his takedowns off it really well. And then on the ground,
like I said, yes, and he had a jab like that. That in itself is awesome to see. You know what I mean, man? Like I love to see jabs. Like jabbing is beautiful, man. Like just in that in itself, it's like, man, GSP is just cool. Period. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
But that the fact that he was so much ahead of his time. He could do so much stuff.
Came back and beat Michael
It was
Bisping.
just fun.
That was fun.
Facts.
So much hype around that fight. I have a video of me sitting in this room with Zach, a couple of my boys. And I was at GSP when he landed that left hook and then dropped and sunk in that beautiful rear naked choke on Bisping. I jumped up and I hit my chair as hard as I could, and I said, "GSP is a new middleweight champion." I was so
like
hyped.
I said.
Oh.
I was watching it with my friend. Like I said, this was my friend that fights. I was watching with him, and he's not a GSP fan. That's one of the people I'm talking about. He hates GSP, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But he understands his greatness. But but I was watching it with him, and he didn't want him to win. He thought Bisping was gonna win. I thought Bisping was gonna win too, because I didn't know how GSP was gonna look after so long
out. I was super worried.
I didn't know. I didn't know how he was gonna look. Yeah. Well, he won. I was just spazzing. To be honest with you, man. I was like, goat.
Absolutely.
But speaking of GOAT, I have another GOAT candidate that I'm going to bring up later. But continue on, Arman.
I wanted to bring up Ben Askren. So there was that whole thing a long time. He fought in Bellator. I think his highest profile legitimate win was against Douglas Lima. That's got to be the one.
I would probably.
Who else?
Yeah. I don't know his record is crazy, but yeah, Douglas Lima. He has Shinya Aoki. He has Koreshkov, who's in Bellator as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say Douglas Lima. I'd probably say Douglas Lima, to be honest with you.
It's one of those guys. None of those guys were ever Jorge Masvidal type of thing. But what I wanted to say was, we saw Maia give Askren the work, and Maia was using lots of old school. He was switching from in guard from omoplata transition to do that to hit the old omoplata.
Okay, I'm gonna say something, but mainly just off of the Maia fight. I think Ben Askren's overrated just as a grappler, period, because
You've told me, yeah.
The good grapplers in the welterweight division, they can sit in Maia's guard and not get swept immediately, or they could at least not get submitted. Ben Askren, every single time he took Damian Maia down, it was almost immediately he got swept and got mounted or got his back taken.
Yeah, it was not good.
Roy McDonald got mounted against Damian Maia, and he technically got himself out of the situation. That's true. Ben Askren, he got mounted. He would take Maia down and almost immediately get swept or get knocked out position, reverse, something would happen. And I'm like,
well, I thought he fought the wrong fight there. Here's what I think. I don't
know what fight you're supposed to fight.
No,
I don't know what Ben Askren's supposed to do against that.
So, okay, a couple things. One, Maia even sent his post for interview, and I noticed this, and his usual sit up he'll get in half guard and he'll sit up into a single, and that's sort of his transition. He didn't do that this fight. He played lots of a lot more of the traditional jiu-jitsu attacks, which might have thrown Askren off to be one, but two, I thought Ben Askren was engaging in the guard passing game a little too much. I remember
okay. I will agree. Yeah, okay. I will admit. Yeah, he was actively trying to pass guard and giving up space.
Yeah, it's not the wrestling game plan against a jiu-jitsu guy who usually sits in the guard and just tries to control. I think Askren was trying to make a point. Maybe I don't know what his idea was there, but not that he wouldn't have gotten swept. I think he got on the ground with Maia, and Maia was gonna end up on a dominant position anyway. But the alacrity with which Maia was able to achieve those positions, I think, was in part thanks to Askren's eagerness to play the jiu-jitsu game with Maia. I was super stoked when Maia won that, and I
was too. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I know. I was super happy, and but this is all digression. What I wanted to say was the whole GSP versus Askren thing. Look, the more knowledgeable I became about MMA in general, I was the first thing I started with was jiu-jitsu, so I always kind of understood what's happening on the ground. Now that I understand the importance of the jab and timing and distance management and really cage craft, GSP would walk around Askren. He'd pepper his face with a jab. He would take Askren down, pass. He would hold him there. I don't think Askren would stand a single chance in his prime versus any GSP.
Dude, 2004 GSP still probably would beat him. To be honest with you, the GSP that lost to Matt Hughes, I don't. Ben Askren to me at best is a top 15. Okay, I'm gonna be nice. Right matchup, he could be a top 10 welterweight. Who do you
think he beats in the welterweight division right now? In his prime. Who's in the top 15? Let's check this out.
Yeah, let me look up the rankings real quick because, and again, man, I feel like I'm still giving him a little bit more praise than he should. But I am a little mean to Ben Askren. I shouldn't be.
You are. You were super happy whenever he got slammed.
Nate Diaz is ranked. Nate Diaz is ranked 10th in the welterweight rankings. Could he beat him? Maybe.
Yeah. So welterweight rankings. You got Tyron Woodley who's number 1. I think that makes sense. So he would not beat Tyron Woodley. Well, no, he get knocked the fuck out by Tyron Woodley.
You know what? We're not gonna go on a tangent of rankings. So that is a whole nother thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can beat. Oh, RDA is still ranked. He's not looking too good either.
I don't know. Do you think you told me you thought he got beat up against RDA. That's what you think. You think Askren gets beat up against RDA? Oh
yeah, but now RDA is looking kind of shaky.
Who did he fight? He lost against Chiesa last time, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't watch that fight, to be honest with you.
Like I said, before I get on before my Ben Askren hate gets out of hand, I will say I respect the hell out of all fighters, and every single last one of them they put a lot of effort out there. I just don't think some fighters can beat other fighters. I just don't think some fighters are as good as they think they are, or as the masses think they are. And speaking of the RDA, I think RDA, like before the cancer fight, when he looked like he could actually fight competently. Yeah, fight competently. I think he would beat Askren as well. But now I don't know, man. RDA is looking kind of meh-ish.
So I think Nate Diaz is the easiest fight for him at that weight. Either Nate or Anthony Pettis. Here's my thing. Nate Diaz, let's be honest about that guy. Okay, I don't want to. In a fight with Askren, Nate Diaz, I haven't seen lateral movement from him that inspires confidence in his ability to not get backed up by Askren. I think he gets here's what I think happens. I think he throws 1-2s and spams Askren like he usually does, but Askren will grab him, and then I think he'll get backed up onto the cage, taken down, and his guard is he's one of those guys that kind of accepts being taken down on his butt because he has good jiu-jitsu. But have you noticed his guard, his brothers too, but especially his is kind of lazy. Like he'll kind of just throw his legs up and go loosely for submissions, and then roll to his back, and then try a hippoplata or whatever it's called. I don't know. I just think he gets beats up by Askren. What do you think?
No, well, I think Nate could give Askren. Okay, first things first. Too, again, I think Nate looking a little worse for it as well because he's been taking so much damage in the Masvidal fight. Almost everything Masvidal hit him with stunned the hell out of him, man.
Yeah,
that's obviously that won't necessarily come into play against Askren, but just in terms of the wear and tear and all that, I'm not exactly sure that Nate's in his prime either as well.
No.
But no, yeah, like Nate, I never seen Nate Nate is more of an outfighter than Nick. Nick likes the pressure, which I think
put his head on the chest and just ripped.
Yeah, I think that'll allow more clinch exchanges for Ben Askren if it was Nick per se.
Yeah.
Nate will stay at range, against Gray Maynard, right? Old Gray Maynard Diaz. But he was content to just pick him apart with his long punches at range. He even caught him, ducking in. I still think Ben Askren does have a shot. But just quick hypothetical matchup. It's a tough fight for both. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ben won that one. But I think that's about the max. I think that's about the max you can do. Yeah. I guess an older shot.
So what do you think about? I know they're in the same team and all that shit, but Pettis versus Askren. Because the way I saw what was the guy's name who recently beat him? Diego Ferreira, whatever.
Diego Ferreira. Yeah, Carlos Diego Ferreira.
He kind of walked him down, grabbed a hold of him, and I don't know, man. He's doing that thing with his lead leg where he picked it up, kind of like how Nate was doing against against him.
No, the main thing about me, my ability to pick Ben Askren to win fights, even prime Ben Askren or because I don't want to shortchange the guy and be like, oh my gosh, he's got annihilated in UFC.
He did.
I'm not gonna he's an elite wrestler. If he gets his hands on you, he makes things difficult. And so
I love him.
My just a basic baseline. My ability to pick Ben Askren to win fights is can this fighter either compete with him in grappling, or can they play keep away game long enough or consistent enough or hit hard enough or more athletic enough to hurt him on the way in. And Ben Askren to me straddles that line of losing. I'm not Ben Askren. I'm sorry. Anthony Pettis straddles that line of losing to Ben Askren because Anthony Pettis will be the smaller guy.
Yeah.
Again, I'm doing hypothetical prime versus prime match.
Of course.
You know what I mean? He would be the smaller guy Anthony Pettis doesn't do well with pressure, and Ben Askren he'll pressure just because that's the only thing he could just about do.
That's really all he
And
can
even
do.
though Anthony Pettis, yeah, and even though Anthony Pettis is gonna have easy shots to land on Ben Askren, Ben Askren's really tough. Like I can't say that. Like he almost got his head pumped in.
Clobber, but yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, and he still kept on fighting. I can't deny him with that. He got his head annihilated against Robbie Lawler, and I don't trust Anthony Pettis to fight in a grappling pace at a hard grappling pace for 5 rounds. Like all the like he has a lot of problems in his striking. But if he can fight. He can fight a striking matchup for a consistent period of time, and feel comfortable at least. When people press him against the cage, grapple with him, take him down, make things difficult, I don't trust him to fight a pace like fight like that consistently.
Yeah, he fades. He does, and you can
Ben Askren, he works. He's shown relatively good cardio. Yeah, he's shown good cardio. Mm-hmm. He's tough as hell. He's gonna be in Anthony Pettis' face. Anthony Pettis to me never seemed like a guy that liked a dog fight per se.
No.
Like he puts on the front. To me he like puts on the front.
He pretended in that Tony fight. That was weird. That whole thing was weird.
Like no, like to me I feel like he puts on the front. Like every like rough fight, like the Poirier fight or the RDA fight or the Tony Ferguson fight, the Diaz fight. He just looked like he wasn't having fun, man. Like, and I think against Ben Askren, he just gets stuffed against the cage, taken down, grinded a little bit. He's like, man, this fight ain't it, man.
It would look, I always remember Abel Trujillo versus Khabib, where the look on I love that fight too. The look on Abel's face was like, oh my god, this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's...
I like a very important part of me to enjoying fights is like seeing emotion on display. Like sometimes you can see like fighters will be like kind of robotic. I understand sometimes you got to do your job. Just be robotic. I got to fight. Mm-hmm. But when like Abel Trujillo was like, I am having the absolute worst time I've ever had in my life in the Khabib fight.
Oh my god.
He looked like I don't think I've ever seen a fighter so pissed off during a fight in my life.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like that stuff makes me laugh, man. He looked so angry. No, he was like.
He was airborne and like what?
I know he looked so mad. He was like, I just cannot get away from him, man.
Well,
I am so.
That brings me to one of my next picks, Khabib. Obviously, I love I just love him as a fighter, and that was one of the fights where you can start to see his shift away from the traditional spam the single leg strategy in fights because
I still think he kind of spams the single leg now a little bit. I mean, not spam the single leg, but like single leg obviously is go to
in open space. I've done a lot of like Khabib's one of the guys I studied the most, and like in his early fights, you can especially in those ones that took place in Russia, and then he would shoot for the single, and he had he would try and crack you down. I don't know what it's called in wrestling, but basically it's like when you pull yourself back. It's like a, head outside single. It's not rain the pipe. It's not a crackdown. You go down with them. It's like that. And then you wrap around for the double. You wrap the arm around their body. I forget what it's called. It's not a slide by. Or he would do a duck under and go to your back. And those were his takedown sequences. And then he'd also push you against the ropes because it was in the ring. And those were, that stopped working as early as his first fight in the UFC against Kamal Shalarus. If you remember in the first, shout out to a Persian fighter. But if you remember, he got all of his takedowns were stuffed because Kamal is a decent wrestler, like just as a pure wrestler. Until he lands that wayward uppercut after shooting. Kamal sprawls, he comes up and throws his leaping uppercut, and then his takedowns start working. Where you see it really not work is his next fight. I believe it was his next fight against Gleison Tibau, where he gets every single leg attachment. Like he's got a clamp on the leg, and he pushes Tibau to the fence, and he's trying everything he can to finish an inside single, an outside single. He's trying to trip out the back leg, and he can't. And in open space, his go-to is still shoot for the single, like you're right. But now he uses a lot more of the body lock takedown. He'll push you. His game against the fence especially, that's where he shines as a grappler. I mean, because like in open space, he kind of just shoots really low singles just to grab a hold of you. And his most recent takedown finish from open space was against McGregor, right? Like usually, usually he shoot and that was in round 1 where he almost got his back. Usually he does what he can to grab you, pushes you against the fence, and gets you from there. Even against Poirier, all his takedowns, he shot really quick level changes while Poirier's back was on the fence or near it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my next. But his, people say, oh, he's a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler. I think he is. But do you watch those I Am the Bay videos? The ones, the guy who records AKA's training.
I'll watch him every once in a while.
Well,
a little bit.
They had one where Gilroy Wrestling. It's like a high school called Gilroy High School or something like that in San Jose. They come down. You know the video that high school wrestler Chase Saldate who got Russian tie snapped by Islam Makhachev? Come on, you have to have seen it.
I think I've seen that, like the cool little like
that
thing.
Yeah, and he falls.
Yeah, I've seen that, yes.
Went viral. That kid came back, and all the wrestlers came back, and he wrestled with Islam again, and Islam just kind of had his way with him. But he did like a free, like folk style, whatever, a high school wrestling. I think it's folk style with Habib.
It's folk style.
Yeah, and you can see Habib's discomfort in open space. Like, he actually wasn't shooting the way Islam was. He wasn't sprawling out of takedowns the way Islam was. He kept on pushing. He would kind of defend himself, wouldn't let Chase get him. But then he actually pushed this high school wrestler against the wall and finished the single from there. And then was cheating a lot by clasping his hands. So I think, honestly, as far as his open space wrestling is concerned, he's actually pretty average, right? Like, that's my opinion.
Like, yes, and a very important point. It's always very important to see, like, especially fighters in their training. Because you get to see like the fun stuff to do or the stuff they're good at or the stuff they don't show you. Like, okay, so it's easy to see Khabib and be like, okay, right now he doesn't seem comfortable in open space. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And especially if it's confirmed in training against a lesser caliber wrestlers, at least on paper, then it's like, okay, man, maybe this is something that's an active, legit thing that he legit is not comfortable with.
Yeah, and
like I said, I never seen him really like. Yeah, I've never seen his best work in open space. All his good work obviously is against the cage.
Yes, and that's the thing. I mean, he in his early fight, he took down Pat Healy with a double leg in open space. I honestly don't remember another person he did that to. Even Connor was defending really well. Mm-hmm. But no, so we gotta talk about it, man. You said you don't trust Tony Ferguson to win that fight.
I don't trust Tony Ferguson in the fight at all. Not one bit.
Let's hear it. You gotta tell me. We gotta hear about it.
So, in my personal opinion, just as a big dynamic of the fight, mm-hmm. I think Tony Ferguson will be taking damage and hoping for Khabib to gas out to implement his offense. And I can't pick fighters to beat elite level fighters through elite level fighters wearing themselves out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like Khabib. Like for all the first little part that we was talking bad about Khabib. Khabib to me is the best lightweight of all time, mm-hmm. and the greatest lightweight of all time.
Same.
I find extremely short matchups, a few matchups that will trouble Khabib.
Agreed.
And Tony Ferguson is not one of them.
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson to me. If Tony Ferguson had more of a stick and move jab game, mm-hmm. I might be like, okay, man, Tony Ferguson hits hard, he's long, he could trouble Khabib. But Tony Ferguson, I can't picture what he would try to do against Khabib other than swarm him, which will push him into Khabib and allow Khabib to push him back against the cage. Mm-hmm. And Tony Ferguson, he doesn't show me anything that tells me he's going to like immediately try to get up off his back.
He doesn't ever do that.
Yes, like I don't trust him for Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson's game is really weird, but it's really good in terms of like delivering damage. Yeah, I do like how Tony Ferguson delivers damage from every position that there is, man. Like he tries to hurt you from everywhere. But I don't think that's gonna matter because he's just gonna get his guard pass against Khabib and then just smash into pieces. And like, I would like for Tony to win. I actually really like Tony. Like I like Tony more than I like Khabib. But I don't trust him in that fight at all. I don't trust him in that fight at all. In the slightest bit. Like Tony Ferguson is too wrestlable. Not even in the sense of like he's not he's a good grappler obviously, but he's like in terms of too wrestlable. I mean like he wants to engage. He would engage in that position. Those positions too much.
Invites it to more is more accepting of it in terms of how his style is oriented. Yeah, I understand.
Yes,
he's more conducive.
He'd be more accepting to like, yeah, man, I'm gonna jab and shift into this right hand and then
spin.
You
He'll
push me up,
yeah.
and then and then you clinch me up, and it's fine, man. I'm gonna try to elbow you off the clinch, and then bam, you take it down.
Well,
You know, it's something like I
yeah,
just see Tony
yeah.
Farnham can do something like that.
You know, he's very good. Like, you'll see him, especially if you go back and watch early fights. He does lots of things. Like, someone had a body lock in him from the back, and he's fighting the hands, pushing the hands down, and kind of sprawling backwards. I mean, he knows how to do it. He was a NCAA. But it's very inconsistent because other times someone will have they'll have the 100%. They'll have the body lock, and they're sort of driving for it for a double. And instead of trying to fight it, he's up in the air throwing these. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna stop. It's like those don't really knock guys out like very often. You know what I'm saying? So he'll get taken down, and while being taken down, he's trying to deliver damage and do little things to make them bleed, maybe. But you know, one thing, if I were in Khabib's camp, I would say if you look at his Tony's most recent fight, he did a lot of, I think, shifting into a right hand and then spinning into an elbow against Cerrone, right? Like, he would shift into a lead right, like a shifting right hook, and then turn around with an elbow. If you're Khabib's camp, you duck under that and go for a clinch. You know what I'm saying? Because you can almost count him behind you.
I remember this specific exchange, and I was really impressed with Khabib on it. I forget. I think he threw himself a lead right hand, against McGregor.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He threw himself a lead right hand against McGregor, and McGregor immediately, he tried to hit his
pull back left counter.
He tried to hit the McGregor counter.
Ducked right.
And Khabib immediately ducked out there and shot on him and pushed him against the cage and got I don't know if he got the takedown, but he pushed him against the cage off of that.
No, actually,
so
I thought that was the one where McGregor grabbed the hold of his shorts and stuffed him.
He probably did.
Yeah,
McGregor was cheating the whole fight, so.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Khabib is a guy to me that he has himself set triggers to fight against certain people, and Tony Ferguson too, especially if Tony Ferguson was shifting to the right hand and throw himself out of position.
He does that.
I see Tony, Khabib shooting himself a takedown, or pushing against the cage and working off of that. Another thing, man, that Khabib was really underrated to me is he strikes well in transition. At least,
yeah, the good point. That's a really good point. Oh my God, yeah.
He strikes really well in transition. So let's say Tony does do a little scramble and try to work out. Khabib will be out there to hit him, shoot back off of that. Like Khabib as a traditional grappler to me is really dangerous.
You are right, and
it's really dangerous.
He scored a lot of good shots on people coming out of grappling scrambles and positions.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, to me, he's really dangerous in those spots. I just see Tony Ferguson taking a lot of damage. I see him taking a lot of damage, in my personal opinion. Yeah, and I just don't trust him to win that fight.
Here, actually, people are talking about his elbows, and I'm on all these MMA Facebook groups where it's a bunch of sort of unintelligible fans saying things, and someone asked
MMA Facebook is worse than MMA Instagram, which is worse than MMA Twitter, which says a lot.
MMA fans.
Man, I've never been on MMA Facebook, but I can't trust it. I can already tell.
Yeah, look, I don't want to get into that because I'll be going on. We will run out of time, but look, someone today asked, has Khabib ever fought someone with a really good guard before? And I say, he hasn't fought a Charles Oliveira, but it doesn't really matter because Ferguson's guard is I think it's somewhat overrated. His best submissions are most of his submissions that are impressive are from the front headlock, like a Darce choke.
And I think a very important part of his submission game is that it comes from a lot of attritional damage on the feet.
Yes. Lee was done.
Yes, what's the name? Etan Barboza. He was hurt on the feet. He shot himself into a takedown. Lando Venata was ducking into front headlock situations, after Lando Venata was gassed. A lot of Tony Ferguson's good offensive work in terms of grappling comes off of his work on the feet where he tires people out.
That's a good point.
Like Khabib, he tires you out through his grappling.
Yeah.
And beat you there. Or he'll just beat you up on the ground. Or he'll just submit you on the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Tony Ferguson, I can't remember a fight of his where I would say he did effective work on the ground to win.
I can't either.
Yeah, because I know he submitted. Let me see. He submitted. I think Gleison Tibau and Abel Trujillo.
Both by rear naked choke.
Yes, yes, but I think he might have hurt both of them on the feet before he
definitely.
did that.
I'm pretty sure he hurt both. I believe he hurt both.
Yes, it's not like somebody like Brian Ortega who gets annihilated and then somehow pulls out a victory out of thin air through his grappling. Tony Ferguson's doing, a lot of attritional work, working you over, cutting you up, busting you up, jabbing you the hell up. When Tony Ferguson jabs is really nice. I love when he jabs. Jab you up, hitting you with nice 1-2 combinations or whatever he can do.
Like front kicks
and then when you're like, man, I'm not having myself, I'm not having the fight I need to shoot, or he'll snap you down, and then he'll work his submission.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, that's the other point I was going to make. Is his wins are all victories in battles of attrition, right?
Yes, man. I don't know.
He himself is crazy too. He does not get tired. He does not seem to notice the damage he takes. He just comes forward and hits. And most people cannot keep up with that pace. And usually, I think most of his front headlock submissions were either he snapped a tired opponent down, like you said, or they had a really bad shot and he got. Because in a lot of those fights, he attempted Darces earlier on, and they did not work. Like I think Danny Castillo, he tried to Darce. I don't remember who it was, and it didn't work.
I need to rewatch that fight. That's an important fight actually. I need to rewatch that fight.
At the very end of that fight, Danny Castillo had a fully sunken arm triangle, and this was earlier in Tony's career, and we don't know. He's with Eddie Bravo now. I don't trust Eddie Bravo with MMA guys. I really don't, man. I'm sorry. I love rubber. I can do my legs behind my head, dude. I love rubber guard. I love it. The only thing I'll use it in is if I need to settle someone down in my guard and I'm going to pull mission control and hold it. All that other kung fu move and then clearing that doesn't work. I promise you that won't work. I've never seen Ferguson use that effectively. I don't think people have said, well, that was before he was with Eddie Bravo and got his black belt. He was just a blue belt, whatever he did. I don't think Eddie Bravo has improved him in any significant way at all. Just going to be God honest with you. I don't trust him with MMA guys. I don't. I'm sorry. The only high level grappler, and I say that with some. He's an interesting guy to come to the 10th Planet system who has had like any kind of high level success in my knowledge, and I don't keep up with jiu-jitsu that much. Is Vinny Magalhaes, right? Because he went up against Gordon Ryan.
He's a 10th Planet guy.
Yeah, he has a 10th Planet black belt.
Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, and he came up against Gordon Ryan and defend.
I know you beat him. Yeah, I know you beat him.
Yep, he beat him.
He's going to. Isn't he Gordon Ryan's last loss, like professionally?
Yep. Yes, sir. He did.
Yeah,
He took him down past his guard and then just Gordon Ryan could not get
under
his base.
Yeah, couldn't leg like him.
And Vinny Magalhaes has a very spotty grappling record. You know what I'm saying? And he's not a very high level MMA fighter. Like he's just not. So I don't think. So what I think is, it's still possible for someone to hold Ferguson down like that and arm triangle him. Or not just arm triangle him, but take him down. You know what I'm saying? He was saved by the bell. That buzzer went off right as Danny Castillo had that arm triangle sunk in. And I was surprised Castillo lost that fight by decision. You need to watch it.
I need to rewatch that fight. Yes, man. I haven't. I was watching it live, but I had to do something. And then I came back. I forgot what card it was. So I didn't get to see the full thing. I just saw that Tony had won. I was like, okay, that's cool. But yes, I need to rewatch that fight. I 100% need to.
That's like 36
All right,
now.
so that...
Yeah, let's move on. So
yes, I know.
You're a guy.
Yes, I know, yeah.
I went twice.
So next person. No, it's cool. Next person I have. So I already have my GSP and Maya's escaping. So I need to go somebody more violent. Justin Gaethje, man. I freaking love Justin Gaethje as a fighter, man.
I love him too.
So, and speaking of, I guess we're segueing back into Tony. I think Justin Gaethje is very bad for Tony as well. I think with Justin Gaethje, okay, right now, if the May 9th stuff happens, I don't think that's a good fight for Tony at all. I think Justin Gaethje is everything wrong for Tony on the feet.
Yeah.
I don't think I can pick a worse matchup for him. I don't know if I can, to be honest with you, man.
So would you say McGregor is not a worse matchup for Tony than Gaethje?
Yeah, yes. I think McGregor is bad for Tony as well. But I think the main thing is I think Tony and Gaethje's going to engage Tony in spaces that McGregor wouldn't really want to.
Absolutely. Close up.
Gaethje's cool to make it dirty.
Absolutely.
But Gaethje will punch into the clinch, break off the clinch and strike off of that, lick the hell out of Tony, work his body. The thing I love about Gaethje, he's really attritional, but also just dynamic at the same time.
Yeah.
So he works you down throughout the fight, or he can just knock you the hell out in 20 seconds. So throughout the fight, I don't really know what Tony is going to be doing much in a big overall system, in a strategic way to stop Gaethje from killing him multiple times.
Well, I see the uppercuts. I see Gaethje get him in a collar. You know how Gaethje will actually touch you before he. I think I honestly, for some reason, I feel every time I've looked at a fight in my head, I've seen it ending by knockout. Gaethje hits him with an uppercut, especially the way Tony leaves his head straight in the air.
I don't feel comfortable with that fight for Tony at all, man. And it makes me feel bad too, because I want to see Tony succeed, but I just think all the circumstances around him right now are just not ideal
No,
And I don't think this Tony fight, the Gagey fight is ideal for him as well.
I
Either.
wouldn't take it.
I can't.
I wouldn't take it. I could never, because if you
Yeah.
lose it, it's such a high stake. It's like the Frankie Edgar thing. How he lost to Ortega and then lost his time. He got it eventually because he's Frankie Edgar, but it's not,
Yes, exactly.
it's a risk you don't need to take.
Yes, man. I do not trust him against Gagey in the slightest,
Like,
man. Like
everyone's healthy right now. Like no one pulled out due to injury. It's just this COVID-19. Just delay Habib. We don't need an interim title. We don't need a. Everyone wants to see Tony versus Habib. It's best for the sport.
okay. Okay. I'm gonna beat on this drum as well. As the guy who says Gagey beats Khabib, I'm more so telling myself and believing it. But Gagey beats Khabib. I want Gagey to beat Tony so he can fight Khabib.
I want to see that too. Yeah.
But yes, like I do. Tony does deserve a title shot, 100%. He's been shafted too many times. So him fighting Khabib kind of just like has to happen for the culture. So they just need to delay that, exactly. Delay that. No interim title. I don't like interim titles in general, man. They just feel kind of.
See, they put a fucking title on front of every card except the McGregor one, where he came back and fought Cerrone. Like,
yeah, that's because McGregor though. You don't.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, I mean they even made a BMF, but like my whole thing is we can have a main event that's an awesome fight without a title being on it. Interims like that water the division unless your guy's out for a long time, right? Interims water down the division. It just complicates everything and makes so much ambiguity surrounding who's a title holder. We need Tony. Like, it doesn't need it. Tony shouldn't even take that fight. Respect to him for doing it. Gaethje's really hero for stepping up to fight Tony. He thought he was going to already have fought him by now. But I agree with you. Gaethje is a mad threat for Tony. I don't think... See, Gaethje's very durable. I think Tony does lots of stuff like stepping elbows and kicks. Gaethje's been fighting different in his last 3 fights, even though they lasted a lot less time. And then his fight against Cowboy, he did like more of the sort of lighter on his feet, jab, pull back type of thing. Didn't he catch Cowboy with an uppercut?
He caught him. No, he caught him with an overhand right counter. Like he slipped off and then countered with the right hand.
Okay.
He caught him with an uppercut. Like when Cowboy dropped, he hit him with the uppercuts when he was hurt.
Right.
Like,
well, dude, I feel
like, and that's the thing, man. Like Justin Gaethje always has been able to counter actually pretty well. But like Tony Ferguson has no safe spaces in the fight. Like if Tony pressures, then Gaethje can do stuff like punch into the clinch and hurt him, or he's kind of showing now like ability, maybe to slip his head a little bit off the counter, or even if Gaethje covers up, he could field shots and then throw big things off of that. Because like Poirier and Alvarez, they have the ability to like vary up the rhythm and timing. Alvarez will do a good job working the body. Alvarez always has really good lateral movement too, so it makes
really well against
Poirier,
defense, yeah.
Yes, and then Poirier was able to like do things like flick out a jab so that to mess up Gaethje's rhythm, so that way he doesn't have set counters.
Yeah,
flick out a jab, and also himself throw in the pocket, have the ability to throw in the pocket that most people don't have against Gaethje. Mm-hmm. And then both of them, Alvarez and Poirier, man, they had to go through hell to win those fights. Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had to go through hell. Like
Gaethje's so good with dude. He has such a, like you said, dynamic. The thing about Gaethje is his combinations are truly variable in that when he punches, it's going to end with a kick. He always spams the inside leg kick, the outside leg kick. Tony has really small legs. I don't know, man. I don't see that going well for Tony.
Yeah, man. Like that's a rough fight for him, man. That's a rough fight for him. If he gets to it, man, I'm not gonna lie. I got to give him props for that. Like, that's a rough fight for him.
I don't know how he would. I don't think he's going to knock him out. It takes a lot to finish Justin Gaethje. Like, it's an attrition thing, and I don't know. Tony's not really a guy who. Like, who's the last guy he knocked out? Like Spark out.
He knocked out Kakuno.
Sonny Kakuno's the guy with his arms down and ran toward him.
Yeah.
Bizarre. He was asking to get knocked. I would have knocked him out, dude. That's saying a lot. That was bizarre. I don't want to talk about that. That was a bizarre fight. I watched that recently, and I was like, what is he doing? No way they let him in here.
I believe.
It might have been. He was walking in there like this, like with his arms like this, like a. I was so confused.
He's always been like a traditional martial arts guy.
But that didn't look like traditional martial arts, dude. Like
He just fought terrible in that fight. Yes, he fought terrible. Oh, actually, he fought Eddie Alvarez, and he gave Eddie Alvarez a pretty tough fight.
Really, man? That was
way back in the day. Yeah.
I haven't followed. I wasn't a fan with it. See, the thing is, I did karate for a while when I was younger. I think my trousers aren't up anymore, but the stance we took, it was American karate, was like this. It was still lead arm down. You know what I'm saying? And other guys will fight more down like this. But there's always, I mean, Sonny Kakuno was kind of flat-footed, and he was doing something like this. It was like this type. I don't know. It was very, very bizarre watching him lunge in. No, just wait. He wasn't. He had no. Like the thing about guys like that is usually outfighters, right? They keep a good distance. They establish distance with either something like a front kick or a solid jab, and then they're not like pocket boxers and throwing long combinations. Usually in and out. Kakuno was like in his face, like in range to be hit. Right? Since he wasn't managing distance, he has to rely either on his guard or his head movement or something like that, right? He had no guard and he had like no head movement. So he was just getting hit and then just kind of wobbling backwards. And then like, all right, I'm going to try again. I was very confused by that fight. I was very... It wasn't a real fight. Do you remember that little Asian guy who fought Nick Diaz? I don't remember. It was some little Japanese guy who kept trying to walk like this. I was so confused. It reminded me of that. He was like wearing yellow pants. And Joe was like, I saw him trying to block punches with his corner, but I hope he's not going to do that in the fight. And then Nick Diaz just like spammed put him away. It was so bad.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes, man, there are fights that be cracking me hell up, man.
Like when Jared Brooks knocked himself out. Do you remember that one? What was his name?
Yeah.
And then the guy was trash talking afterward. The guy was like, "We gotta get things done." He's getting his ass kicked.
Okay, I will admit, dude, Jared Brooks is a very good fighter, man.
Jared Brooks,
Jared Brooks is a damn good fighter. But yes, that's hilarious. That is hilarious, man. But yeah, some fights be cracking me the hell up, man. So okay, so I know I talked about Justin Gaethje. You just love him so much. Quick before we get on to the next fighter. I love Justin Gaethje because he's just such like he's a fighter's fighter, man. And he's just so. Like for the reasons people like Tony Ferguson is the reason I love Justin Gaethje.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much that simple. Like I think Justin Gaethje is a more hardcore version of Tony Ferguson. How crazy that sounds, and a better fighter too. So that's why I love me Justin.
I think there's less. Okay, Tony Ferguson is a very histrionic individual, and we know for sure he has suffered with a lot of mental health problems. He has no official diagnosis, but my uninformed guess is something like bipolar or schizoaffective. Schizoaffective, you can very, very untechnically think about it like a combination of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. But I get with him, there's like these spastic, not like behaviors and a sort of free-flowing stream of consciousness type of thought. And whatever, the point is it influences his personality a lot. And when he talks, you don't know what he's talking about, and that bleeds into his fighting style and sort of physical behavior, right? Like, he is all the things Justin Gaethje is, except with a whole bunch of fucking bullshit surrounding it.
Baggage, yeah, I know, yeah, a whole lot of baggage. Yes, exactly, a whole lot of baggage. Like I said, I'm a Tony Ferguson fan, man. I respect the hell out of him. Mm-hmm. He seems to be going through stuff. I hope he,
Well, I have a tremendous amount, I mean, given my experiences, I don't want to get into it on air, but, a tremendous amount of respect for how he came through adversity in physical and mental form. He tore his ACL, came back in 6 months, beat the snot out of Anthony Pettis. Had, his wife restraining order, had went through some kind of psychosis. Apparently, it's not psychosis. It's happened to him a lot. He was having an episode. Came back, beat the snot out of, what's the guy? Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Came through it, has been on. I have a tremendous amount of respect for his ability to overcome, and you can see it in his fights. He's never discouraged. But where he really lost me as a fan was when some guy at the press conference between him and Khabib tried to give him props and say he meant a lot to people, was inspiring people, and he told the guy to shut the fuck up and fuck your advice. And I was like, man, like, this guy is just so dumb. Like, Tony Ferguson is such a meathead. I love him as a fighter. There's nothing you can see Tony Ferguson, technical criticism aside. You see him in the Octagon, like, I love this guy. He is so dumb. Like, when he keeps saying things like Khabib ran from me, I don't think he's kidding. I think in his mind, in some sense, I don't think he believes it. I think it's just a complete lack of self-awareness. Like, he just says things and doesn't think twice about them. He's such a knucklehead. That's why I say I like Gaethje more, because Gaethje is way more cerebral.
Gaethje, like just in those interviews, just like past 2 weeks ago, he was like, "Yeah, man, like
I'm scared.
I could lose this fight. Yeah, I could lose this fight. I can get my head smashed in. Like, I respect that, man. Like, that's honest. What, like, fighters think. That's what fighters think, man. You know what I mean? It's rough out there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so on to your fighters now.
We got about 15 more minutes, so we'll do.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, we'll speed things up a little bit.
So I actually want to modify my list. I want to change or just add someone to my list. I stand Beneil Dariush. I stand Dariush. I stand
Man,
him.
okay, I have myself a Twitter friend who loves him some Beneil Dariush as well, and I've always liked Beneil Dariush as well. I felt super terrible when he got knocked out by Edson. Not just because the knockout itself was absolutely horrific.
I thought he was winning that fight, man.
Yes, man, he was doing damn good against Edson, man. He was doing Edson, and then man, like Beneil Dariush, dude, yes, he was doing damn good against Edson.
He was.
And another fight, man, like that. There's a fighter who's like, to me, he's like one of those he's a really high level technical skill guy. Not so much like he doesn't have the best process to win fights, and he's not I won't consider him a championship caliber fighter. His name is Rashid Magomedov.
Who?
And Beneil Dariush, his name is Rashid Magomedov. I think he fights.
It's a different guy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I think you meant Beneil Dariush.
It kind of ties into him as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've always like I remember seeing him compete with Rashid Magomedov, like just like in a clean technical fight per se.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, Beneil Dariush is so underrated, man. Like
he really is.
I just feel bad for him that he like, cause he doesn't seem like a good athlete to me.
He's not very athletic. That was my other thing.
But Beneil Dariush always to me, I like me some Beneil Dariush. I was super happy when he knocked out your car close. I was super happy, man. I was so happy when he beat your car close, man. So damn happy, man.
He looked spent too. He was doing weird shifting uppercuts. I mean, it was bizarre. Like when he came out in round 2, I don't remember exactly what he hit. His legs looked awful. His combinations did not look good. He was throwing like this weird sort of shifting. It was like I think he had his throwing a shifting uppercut with the back leg and trying to step forward. I don't remember, but it did not look good. And then he threw like this overhand right that came out of no. They wobbled each other, and then the second guy, so Beneil wobbled him second, and then walked him down. I think it was like a long overhand right that just clocked him, and his mouthpiece came out. I was so happy for him. I was so sad when what's the guy, Alex Hernandez, I think, sparked him unconscious in the first fight. I was devastated. That wasn't even. Those fights don't really prove a whole lot, right? Because he just kind of ran out at him.
Yeah, I didn't like that fight. I didn't like that fight at all.
Then he armbarred Drew Dober, beat the snot out of Frank Camacho. I'm friends with Frank Camacho. He follows me on Instagram. I talked I'll DM
really?
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Frank Camacho seems super. I know he seems awesome, man. I don't know him, but he seems absolutely awesome.
Super nice guy. Interacts with fans. He's great.
Frank Camacho does seem cool. So and then Beneil Dariush also seems super nice guy as well. So
yeah, he is.
Yes.
Shout out to the Persian fighter. No, but well, the thing is, I was so sad when they had to fight, but you can just see that Dariush was on a much higher level than Camacho because he beat him everywhere. But Dariush just had some good wins. I mean, well, at the time, James Vick was a better win. Who else is there? Didn't he choke? No, he got choked out by Michael Chiesa, which was really sad.
Mm-hmm. He was beating Michael Chiesa in that fight too.
Yeah, and I thought he did the wrong. I mean, he didn't fight the hands. I don't know. You see some guys and you want to scream as a fan, fight the hands, grab the top, but you're not in there. You don't know what they're thinking or how close they are to going out. But who else has Dariush beat? Let me look that up.
I'm on this Wikipedia real quick. He has a pretty respectable record in terms of like quality of wins. He beat Tony Martin, or Rocco Martin, if you know how he wants to call himself. What he wants to call himself now. He beat Tony Martin. He submitted him. He beat Diego Ferreira. He beat Darren Cruikshank. I mean that's. Yeah,
he beat Diego.
Jim Miller.
That's right. Yeah.
And he beat Michael Johnson too. But that fight, I haven't seen it since it happened. But that fight being a little controversial.
I remember.
Then he beat James Vick and Magomedov.
I actually recently watched that fight, and I thought Michael Johnson won rounds 1 and 2, and then clearly lost 3, and they gave it to him somehow. I was very surprised.
No, I remember that fight being controversial. I haven't seen it since it happened though.
Let's see. So his like you were mentioning, he lost to Ramji Nijum, beat Marco Martin.
That's a weird loss.
Yeah, it's kind of a fluke. He beat. I mean, Jim Miller's a journeyman. Michael Johnson, Chiesa. James Vick, you told me you were just talking about that. I was hella sad when he lost to Edson. It was a beautiful knee, but still. Mm-hmm. And then he's been on. I forgot about this guy, this Thiago Moise. I don't even know who he is, to be honest with you. Let me look him up. Let's look at him. No, I don't know who that is.
But that's
that armbar.
That's cool. Like
defeat of Drew Dober was very surprising. I was I was very worried about him in that fight, to be honest with you.
No, yeah, Drew Dober's cool too. So, but okay, yeah. So on to the next fighter. We got to make things a little more quick. So for my next fighter, who I like, I have 2 more after this. One more after this. I got to put my man Max Holloway in there. I love me some Max Holloway.
Yes, sir.
Another awesome dude, high quality fighter. So you know what? I'm gonna bundle these two together, so that way we can make things quicker. Mm-hmm. So I have Max Holloway as my favorite fighter. I mean, not my favorite fighter, as one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah.
And also another one is Jose Aldo. So I have to me either Max Holloway, either Jose Aldo or George St. Pierre as the GOAT. You know what I mean? More than likely, I say Jose Aldo. But if you say GSP, I'm not gonna argue with you at all. You know, seeing Max Holloway just. I'm not gonna say pick apart because that's a wrong word, but dissect Jose Aldo in those two fights were just absolutely beautiful. And to me, their second fight is one of the most beautiful fights I've ever seen in life in general. Like Jose Aldo's head movement was so obscene in that fight; it was ridiculous. Like, if you guys want to see high level MMA, watch Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo 2. That fight was insane. And then seeing Max Holloway probe and pick at Jose Aldo, get him to move his head in position, get him to move his head when he doesn't need to, feint him, get him to move, spin energy he doesn't have.
His jab feints were on.
Was absolutely was absolutely excellent to see, man. Like watching Max Holloway, I don't want to say it like this. In his prime, it was a treat. I hope. I don't want to see him fighting Volk, and I don't want to see Jose Aldo fighting Henry Cejudo. Both of these guys should not be fighting those two guys.
So you don't think Holloway should rematch Volkanovski? No.
And not in terms of like merit, because Max Holloway is an all-time great featherweight. So like in terms of merit, yeah, like I'm not a fan of immediate rematches. In this case, I am not at all. Not like Jose Aldo. I don't want to see him fight Volk because I don't trust him to make adjustments as that he needs to be making as quickly as. If he immediately rematches Volk, I don't trust him to have the time to get better. I agree. Basically, you know what I mean. Especially and if he loses to Volk again, that does a lot. That does bad to him. Yes, that does a lot of bad to him. Like
you don't want to be in the Aldo position that he was in after he lost.
Yes, yes, exactly. And then I don't want to see Aldo fighting Cejudo because that's terrible. And then I don't want to see Cejudo fighting Cruz because that's terrible. But that's a whole other tangent. Like I say, Jose Aldo to me and Max Holloway are two of the most skilled fighters I've ever seen in MMA history.
I agree.
And Max Holloway seems like Max Holloway he is the damn team. That's it. He's just the damn team. So I love me some Max Holloway because he's just so awesome as a person.
I agree. I love Blessed Era and Little Blessed, man. He brings his son. And that's the best.
Mm-hmm. And then Jose Aldo as just a pure fighter is just. I still think, like it's really hard to say this. This is a broad, a pretty vague statement. But Jose Aldo might be the most skilled fighter I've ever seen in my life. GSP's in the conversation, DJ, Max, obviously that's why I have him there, Max. But I think Connor, Masvidal's an underrated shout to that too as well. But I don't think he's in that tier.
Alistair Overeem.
No, I don't.
You don't think so? You don't think so?
No.
I think he's pretty skilled for heavyweight.
He's very skilled for heavyweight, underratedly skilled for heavyweight. People think of him as a destroyer. He is, but yeah, no. But beside the point, yes. I think Jose Aldo. If I had to choose one person, just one person, say who is the most skilled fighter of all time, I'm gonna have to choose Jose Aldo. But then again, I may say that because I'm heavily biased towards defense.
Very good. Yeah, that's true. Very good head movement.
I'm heavily biased towards defense. I'm cool if you have somebody else, but that's why I love me some Jose Aldo. And like I say, Max is right there. And he was able to probe at Aldo, and get him into places he wouldn't be successful at in the long run, which is just excellent.
I agree. What I loved was you could see the beautiful head movement of Jose Aldo and all his sort of defensive boxing, and him just. Jose Aldo is like an on and off type of guy. He throws hard and he throws with bad intentions, but the feints of Max Holloway cycled through all of Jose Aldo's head movement, and you see Jose Aldo is swinging at air a lot of the time because of the gorgeous feinting of Max Holloway. That was a masterclass. It was a masterclass. It really was. And even the leg kicks, people were like, well, why didn't they throw the leg kicks? Because the first leg kick he threw, especially in fight one, Max Holloway cracked him with a straight punch right down the middle. So man, Holloway just had his number. He had him figured out. And it wasn't because Aldo was bad. You can see the mastery of technique and what Jose Aldo does so well on display in that fight. But Max Holloway just had all the right answers. I mean, his jab feint, I don't know. His feinting was just a phenomenal. He'll go, it was gorgeous.
No,
it was great. It was really sad.
Fights are just insane.
It was. You know who I want to include in the most skilled fighters? And you may agree, you may disagree. I think Joanna Jędrzejczyk is up there.
I wouldn't put her in there.
Dude, think about it. Okay, here's why I say that. She's like the female Jose Aldo. Am I wrong? Like, people who charged at her would go for takedowns. No one got takedowns on her. She had very good cage awareness, and her leg kicking game was very good.
I think Joanna obviously is very good, highly skilled. I just want to say that just because I think she's worse than Jose Aldo everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if you want to say to me who's the most skilled female fighter, just pure skill, I think it's Valentina. Valentina in terms of the skill set.
Yeah.
I'm not sure any girl can actually like compete with her really.
But what she does with it.
Yeah. What she does. But in terms of just pure skill set, like skill set in terms of what can you do? You know what I mean? That's how I measure skill set.
Like if she was on an exhibition.
Not how effective you are as a fighter, not how you win fights, not can you lose fights, but like what can you do? I think Valentina has that. Like Joanna's really good. Obviously, I can't take away from Joanna, but I think Valentina would be a shout in terms of woman who would be the one of the.
I just have a lot of respect for Joanna Jędrzejczyk because her her cage craft was so good. She always knew where she was against the cage. She managed distance very well. Her takedown defense against, because what was it? Claudia Gadelha and Jessica Andrade are just like was it Claudia? Yeah, charge forward, go for take. You know, those types of people who were very in your face type of fighters, and she was very good at evading them. Like when she would get too close to the cage, she would do an L step and angle off. I just think anyone watching her could learn a lot. Whereas with things Valentina Shevchenko does, like she'll leave her lead leg out for you to kick it, and then she'll spin into a spinning back. You know that thing she does. She's very good at it. Rosa Nunez, her feinting. There are a couple of female fighters. If you watch them, you can learn a lot. Like everyone should watch them. Whereas the majority of the female division is just kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So I rank her amongst the most skilled, at least female fighters. Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
No, she's among the most, yes, but I wouldn't consider her number one or anything.
No, I think Shevchenko probably wins that. Shevchenko's the most skilled. It's most skilled, not most effective.
She already beat her the most. She already beat her once in May, like 3 times in Muay Thai. I mean, we already have the answer, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
That's just the case.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
All right, Arman, you're fighter, man. We've got
like 3 minutes, so I'll just
okay, that's cool.
I'll just close it out. So I mean, it was great talking to you about this stuff, man. It was really fun. We got man, what do we have here? Like an hour and 13 minutes of recording. So that's fun. Yeah, it was our first episode, guys. Thanks for coming out and watching. We just talked a whole bunch of mess. There's not a lot of structure to it, but there's not a lot of structure to the MMA sort of world right now. So
I know, right? Just throw stuff out there, baby.
Yeah, our lack of sort of organization with regards to what we're talking about is very, very much reflective of the current state of things. Yeah, we love talking about fights. Besides Treyvon, you can see he's very knowledgeable. So yeah, if you have any like questions, comments.
I try to be knowledgeable. That's how.
You almost upset a bunch of analysts when you said Shevchenko was the most skilled female fighter without the caveat that effectiveness in what she uses. She's like you know what I'm saying. We've talked about it before. Shevchenko will just coast, and it's really annoying. Mm-hmm. And that's what lost her the second Nunez fight, because I think she won that personally, but you know she kind of the most.
That fight was too terrible to score. It was too terrible to score. Sometimes fights are too bad to score. So
and you just give it to the champ. I don't know. Those fights I'm like, just draw it. But my whole thing. Okay, look, just a quick thing. I will say about Amanda Nunes, what makes her so great is that she hits extremely hard. Like in the women's division, like she's obviously a good fighter.
And also, no, she's a very good fighter. But then also she's at 135. Like that division. It's like John Jones at like heavyweight. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, that's true. So it's great talking to you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Yes,
Yeah, please like,
Have
subscribe.
a great day, everybody.
If anyone is watching, like and subscribe. Appreciate the support, guys. We'll see y'all next time. Peace out.